A 15-year-old murdered, gunned down in what police say was an unprovoked attack. Today, the renewed appeal for any witnesses to come forward a month after the killing. Good evening. We're learning new details about the deadly shooting of Jakai Jack.
Homicide investigators are calling his death a senseless act of violence. CTV's John Musselman is live with the update. John.
Well, Michelle, he was shot in the area right behind me. He made it to that bench. We're told that neighbors tried to come out and help him as well, but he died later in hospital, and police are appealing for any information to try to locate the killer. Investigators say 15-year-old Jakai Jack was shot and killed in what they described as an unprovoked attack. It happened last month on the night of June 7th here near Buttonwood Avenue, not far from Jane Street and Weston Road. Jack was with friends. There was a verbal exchange with a suspect from another group, and a shot was fired, hitting the teenager.
He was just 15 years old, and he had his whole life ahead of him. He was not involved in any gangs or any kind of criminality.
Police say they have recovered surveillance video from the area. Neighbors tell CTV News they heard at least 5 gunshots, and they ran outside to help the wounded teenager. They declined to speak on camera, expressing concerns about safety. The victim died later in hospital. The suspect fled the scene. Superintendent Richard Harris says this murder has shaken the community.
This was an unimaginable loss for Jakai's family, his friends, for his school community, and for the entire neighborhood.
Police are appealing for witnesses. They are also warning that anyone helping the suspect evade police could face criminal charges.
Some people don't realize that what they're doing, if they're helping somebody cover up after a murder, hide evidence, evade police, they may not realize that there are criminal charges associated with that.
Detectives are asking any of the people who were there that night to do the right thing and contact police. And police are appealing for the public's help. If you know anything about this case, or if you were here in that area that night, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers or Toronto Police. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Turning now to a community mourning the loss of another young life. A funeral was held today for Abdul Aziz Sar.
The 14-year-old was fatally stabbed inside a McDonald's in the city's East End over the weekend. Police are still searching for suspects. CTV's Raheem Ladani is live in Scarborough with more on the ceremony. Raheem.
Hi, Nathan. There were well over 100 people here earlier this afternoon for the funeral service of Abdul Aziz Sar. It's important to note that we were granted permission to be here for the service as the investigation into the teen's death continues. The body of 14-year-old Abdul Aziz Sar was guided out of the Spiritual Society Canada in Scarborough as family, friends, and community members lay him to rest. Members of the congregation participated in a funeral prayer and, following Muslim tradition, were asked to forgive the sins of the departed.
The first sunnah is that you forgive him for what he has owed you.
Leading the service was Omar Qadri, a teacher at the Mecca Islamic Center, where Sar was known for his constant presence and volunteering. In a statement shared on social media, management at the Islamic Center write, "Sar was a beacon of joy in our community, always smiling, always kind, always bringing warmth to those around him. He greeted everyone with respect, radiated positivity, and carried himself with grace beyond his years. His presence uplifted all who knew him. He was deeply committed to his faith and studies, showing up every day with eagerness to learn and a heart full of love for his teachers and peers." Sar was fatally stabbed near a McDonald's in the area of Coxwell and Eastern Avenues just after 10 p.m. Saturday night. Paramedics were flagged down to the McDonald's where the teenager was found inside. He died from his injuries in hospital. The circumstances that led to the teen's murder are not clear. Homicide investigators are aware of videos circulating online, but so far have not released any details about possible suspects. The Islamic Center has also organized a GoFundMe, which has so far raised nearly $25,000 to cover funeral costs and support Sar's family. As for the investigation, Toronto police say they expect to have more information to share about Sar's death with the public in the coming days. This was the city's 19th homicide so far this year. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Raheem. Also tonight, they breed rapidly and seem to have no problem making themselves at home. Rats on the agenda at City Hall as council weighs in on the plan to tackle Toronto's pest population.
Peel Regional Police have made 3 more arrests as they investigate robberies targeting members of the South Asian community who may also identify as LGBTQ2S+. In at least 3 incidents, investigators say suspects used social media to arrange meetings with victims under false pretenses. It's alleged the victims were then robbed and in some cases threatened with a firearm. In May, 20-year-old Abhijot Singh of Brampton and 21-year-old Ridhampreet Singh of Mississauga were arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including kidnapping. Similar charges followed last week for 18-year-old Hardil Singh Merok of Brampton and 2 teen boys, aged 16 and 17.
In this case, we've got accused that are portraying themselves as members of the 2S LGBTQ+ community to create that sense of trust. We are pretty confident that if they've done it to these 3 individuals, the victims that have come forward, and again, I'll commend them for their courage in doing so, there may be others that are hesitant to come forward.
Police have issued an arrest warrant for 20-year-old Preetpal Kunar of Mississauga for similar offenses as their investigation continues.
And Toronto police are investigating after shots were fired in Scarborough early this morning. Police were called to Wind Garden Court and Crow Trail at 6:50 a.m. near Nielsen and Finch. They say they found evidence of gunfire on the scene, including damage to a home and vehicle. No injuries were reported, and investigators have not released any suspect information. And 1 person was rescued from a house fire this morning near Dundas and Jarvis. Firefighters were called to the home on Pembroke Street around 5:45. They spotted smoke on the 2nd floor. 1 person was brought to safety from the roof. No injuries were reported, and the flames were put out. Investigators haven't said what might have caused the fire.
More news in a moment, but first, a look outside this hour where it has been a decent summer day, a fair share of cloud cover, but not looking too bad right now as we head into the evening hours. We do, however, have our eye on the sky. Jessica Smith is here with a look at the current conditions, potentially stormy ones.
Yeah, we've been watching it all day, right? It's been around the GTA. We've escaped most of it, but as we head in towards this kind of early part of our evening, we're watching a line of showers potentially making their way towards us, but these come so fast and furious, so as quickly as they show up, they are gone. We're looking at some severe thunderstorm watches through Goderich, Owen Sound, Hanover, and Barrie, and in towards southwestern Ontario. We're clear through the GTA for now, but as we head in towards kind of that 8 to 9 p.m. window, we could see a pop-up shower for us here in the downtown core and closer through the GTA. There's that rain right now. We'll see how it tracks as it makes its way towards us here, but for the now, or at least we're relatively dry, so holding on to a little bit of sunshine. Temperature-wise, it's not terrible out there, but we are holding on to the heat as we wrap up our day today and step into the day tomorrow. Coming up, a full look at your long-range forecast. Right now, it's back to Nathan.
All right, thank you, Jess. Halton Regional Police say a cyclist who was seriously hurt in a collision in Milton last Friday has died. Investigators say the 24-year-old victim was hit by a Toyota SUV being driven by a 71-year-old Mississauga man who remained at the scene. The crash happened on James Snow Parkway near Main Street East at around 11:20 p.m. on July 4th. Police are asking anybody with information or dash cam footage to share it and to get in touch. Meanwhile, York Regional Police have charged a 17-year-old cyclist after a collision with a car yesterday in Vaughan. This happened near Beverly Glen Boulevard in Dufferin around 3 p.m. Investigators are alleging the boy was riding the wrong way while not wearing a helmet. Cyclists under 18 are required by law to have head protection. The boy suffered minor injuries and now faces a charge of careless driving and operate bicycle no helmet.
Well, it has happened again. What, you ask? Well, the speed enforcement camera on Parkside Drive has been damaged for the 6th time in less than a year. The post on which the camera is mounted is still standing, but the device itself is gone. The latest replacement had gone online just last week following vandalism that happened in May. This time around, city officials installed a separate surveillance camera to keep an eye on the speed camera. Toronto police say they're aware of this latest incident as they investigate a string of similar cases across the city.
Now to new efforts to curb rat infestations in the city.
A proposed rat response plan was on the agenda today at City Hall, and that's where we find our Beth McDonnell tonight. Beth, should the rats be packing their bags?
Michelle, well, they definitely need to be thinking about an exit strategy. The Economic and Community Development Committee just unanimously passed the rat response plan to tackle the problem.
18 months ago in the West End neighbourhood of Bloordale, the battle to get rid of the rats was just beginning for businesses.
It was very frustrating for them, especially food businesses that have outdoor patios. It's quite scary if you are sitting on a patio eating dinner and you see a rat scurry across a patio. That's not what we want.
Liza Lukashevsky says her store Nut House was thankfully spared. And thanks to an injection of $12,000 into the problem by local businesses, the rats seem to have retreated.
We have traps outside all through the neighborhood, and in the last 6 months we've seen a huge decrease.
The rats ate poisoned food.
Now Toronto is tackling the problem citywide with the Economic and Community Development Committee looking at a rat response plan. It recommends spending $500,000 to hire staff, support public communications, and rat management training. Some of the main objectives: reducing rats' access to food and shelter, helping residents and businesses, and prioritizing response in the worst areas.
Everybody has to be in on this.
Councillor Alejandra Bravo says construction and climate change are drivers of the problem and pushed for the creation of a plan. One positive, she says, it will require contractors to prevent and manage infestations at city-led construction projects and advise private developers and Metrolinx to have pest management as well.
The powers under the Provincial Planning Act to make a requirement of those submissions. I expect that the public and developers and transit agencies will want to get on board with this.
Lukashevsky says it's wonderful the plan is underway, and while it should have been done years ago, is a good start.
It means that everyone needs to do their part. Do not throw garbage on the street, because that's what rats eat. If you see someone feeding pigeons or squirrels, explain to them that when they're feeding a pigeon, they are breeding a rat. So as long as they stay hidden, they're not eating through parts of our buildings. Like they can eat through metal. They can jump through people's yards when they're having parties. We don't want to see that.
The rat response plan is aimed for implementation next year.
One concern with the plan came from pet owners. They want to make sure the wrong poison isn't used. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. The Ontario Public Service Employees Union says nearly 10,000 college faculty and staff have either been let go or are set to lose their jobs amid a funding crisis.
Union members held a rally in the city today to voice their concerns. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live with all the details. Siobhan.
Well, the province says this is all happening because of a unilateral action by the federal government to reduce the number of foreign students coming into Canada. But the union said today it's been warning the province for years that relying on that group of students to keep colleges in the black is a big mistake.
We'll be back!
College faculty, staff, and students raising their voices to draw attention to a crisis they believe is flying under the radar.
We're seeing one of the largest mass layoffs in Ontario's history, with at least 10,000 job cuts by the end of this year.
I got redeployed. People like Sarah MacArthur-Timofew.
My position was to focus on evidence-based data from the labor market to determine which programs actually needed more enrollment. Hilarious, right?
More than 650 programs have been cut or scaled back at Ontario colleges. For those still on the job, the uncertainty is unsettling.
I can't plan my future or find things to look forward to, because my present is a hamster wheel that feels like it's spinning off a cliff.
Students are feeling that stress, unsure if their own programs will be dropped.
Working conditions and studying conditions are being affected day in and day out.
The minister in charge puts the blame squarely with the federal government, which dramatically reduced the number of international students allowed into Canada.
We are saddened by the news of these layoffs, but there is the right sizing and rebalancing that is going on with less international students going into our post-secondary sector.
While the post-secondary sector has been pleading with the province for a cash infusion, Quinn defends the money going out the door.
In the last 14 months, funding for the post-secondary sector is the highest it's ever been in Ontario's history.
The funding far short of what a government-appointed panel recommended, and there are questions about how funding is being spent.
There are college presidents collecting salaries of over $400,000, even $600,000. That's more than the Prime Minister of Canada.
The province is consulting on how the sector's funded this summer and into early fall, but it's not clear when or if changes might come. One of the things being examined is a tuition freeze that's been in place since 2018. Colleges and universities say that needs to change to give them a chance to survive. If there is going to be a change, it won't happen sooner than the 2026-27 school year. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. An appeal by the Ford government to stop a court order blocking bike lane removals on 3 major streets has been dismissed. In the spring, a Superior Court judge ordered the province not to touch bike lanes on Bloor, Yonge, and University, at least until he decided whether the legislation to remove them was constitutional. The Ford government asked for permission to appeal the temporary injunction, but the motion was dismissed by a 3-judge panel. The province has claimed removing the lanes will reduce congestion, but cycling advocates say it will make the roads less safe.
Still ahead, all good streaks must come to an end. The Blue Jays end their string of wins at 10 in Chicago. We touch base with fans a little later in the newscast. But first, to concerns that ice time in West End arenas is melting away.
One hockey school is calling for the city to maximize the hours of the rinks that are running to improve access. CTV's Natalie Johnson reports.
On the ice for a summer skate. Ask these kids, and there is no off switch in the off season.
If you play in the summer, it improves your playing style a lot. Training always to get better. It feels nice to get on the ice and have fun.
But here at Lambton Arena on Dundas West near Jane Street,
we have 5 groups, and they're working on skills and situations.
The head of Central Hockey Academy is worried the community's arena access is on thin ice.
A lot of rinks have closed in the city, and the city is not making more rinks available.
Nearby George Bell Arena is undergoing roof repairs and won't reopen until September 2026, while redevelopment plans for the Weston Lions rink have left the future of that facility in limbo. The Central Hockey Academy was granted daytime ice at Lambton this summer during the George Bell closure, but come September, this arena will sit empty on weekdays until 4:30 p.m.
There's women's groups that have not been accommodated. There's adult men's groups, there's adult skills groups, there's parent and talk groups, there's public skate groups, all daytime groups that have not been accommodated. Because there are so few ice rinks in this area relative to the demand, we have teams training in the mornings. So maybe on a Friday morning, a 6:30 till 8 a.m. practice before school.
The city tells CTV News that it can adjust the operating hours of its arenas based on need, but that the opening hours do reflect the demand for service. Dr. O was told by city staff in an email, though, that the availability, quote, comes down to larger issues in facility management, which we cannot work around at this time. After months of battling for fall and winter ice time, the Central Hockey Academy was offered 3 morning slots at another rink on the same day CTV News contacted the city. Dr. O says, though, the city needs to make the few facilities it does have available during the daytime.
They leave rinks like this just sitting here,
so that kids like this have every opportunity to get off the couch.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting around watching TV.
And onto the ice. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Several provinces and territories are meeting the federal government's target to implement $10 a day childcare.
But a new report suggests Ottawa will miss its 2026 deadline to implement the policy right across the country. CTV's Rachel Aiello reports.
Oh my God, like, what are we going to do?
Patty Dunn is nervous. Getting her daughter Harper into daycare was no small feat.
I put ourselves on the wait list when I was about 10 weeks pregnant.
And now, with a second on the way?
I don't know what this means for us. Like, just because we have a spot already, does that mean that we'll have a higher chance of getting our next baby in?
Compounding this stress, living in Ontario, it still costs $22 for every day Harper is at daycare. And while it's better than what it was, she says getting that cost down to $10?
It would honestly give us, like, that peace of mind.
She's not alone. A new report out today found that while costs are coming down across the country, governments have more work to do to get to $10 a day nationwide by next year. 6 provinces and territories have already met or exceeded the federal target. None of it Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Quebec, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador. But there are still 5 provinces where care costs more: British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia.
Although people think of this as a $10 a day program Canada-wide, that's the aim.
how it's implemented is the thing that makes the difference.
It's not just parents feeling the program's growing pains. It's daycare providers too, because while fees are dropping, demand isn't.
Right now I have over 1,200 parents or children waiting on the list with only 500 spaces, and my 500 spaces are full.
Today, a spokesperson for the federal families minister touted the $27 billion investment to support province and territories in delivering more affordable childcare, and said the government continues to work with them to deliver on that promise. While that work continues, moms like Patty just want to see more spaces opening up as soon as possible.
It would help to alleviate the stress.
Experts say in order to create those spaces, all levels of government need to work together to build up the early childhood educator workforce, which will take years. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, there's more economic pain coming our way if Donald Trump goes through with his threat to ratchet up the trade war. He's considering a 50% tariff on copper. Now, more than half of our exports go to the States. CTV senior political correspondent Mike LeCouture has more from Ottawa.
U.S. President Donald Trump released another batch of tariff letters to more trading partners. They include Brunei and Libya, and the tariff rate ranges from 20 to 30%. Now, Canada isn't included in this batch, but the government continues to watch after Trump said he'd impose 50% tariffs on copper imports.
When it comes to the latest declaration from the president in the United States, we have not yet seen an executive order.
Industry Minister Melanie Joly says the government is watching closely to see if Canada is affected by any more trade action from the United States. It is worth noting a 50% tariff on Canadian copper would be significant. Of the $9.3 billion worth of exports in 2023, more than half went to the U.S. The next two biggest destinations for Canadian copper were China and Japan. Trade experts say instead of forcing countries to make deals, U.S. tariffs are creating new economic alliances that actually exclude the U.S. And that could be bad for the American economy. And Canadian lawmakers say the goal is to get a deal that works for workers in this country.
My job right now is to make sure that in the context of this trade war, I'm supporting the front lines of this trade war, which are the workers and the companies affected by the unjustifiable and unjustified tariffs.
And the clock is ticking. Canada's self-imposed deadline to hammer out an economic and security deal with the U.S. is July 21st. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Texas, the search continues nearly a week after those devastating floods killed at least 115 people and are believed to have left more than 160 others missing.
We will not stop until every missing person is accounted for.
Thousands of staff and volunteers continue to comb through the destruction as search and rescue teams from all over the country join the effort. Officials have come under increasing scrutiny over whether more could have been done to warn people ahead of the flooding. The governor said the Texas legislature will convene a special session later this month to investigate the emergency response and provide funding for disaster relief.
Several American lawmakers want Canada to do more to curb wildfire smoke. 6 congressional Republicans from Wisconsin and Minnesota say years of wildfires have undermined air quality in their states and robbed Americans of their ability to enjoy the summer. They pointed to forest management and arson as possible factors, but did not mention climate change. The lawmakers sent a letter to Canada's ambassador urging her to relay their concerns to Ottawa. The Canadian embassy says the letter will be shared with relevant agencies. Well, the Blue Jays were looking to tie a franchise record for wins this afternoon as they wrapped up their series with the White Sox.
But it was not to be. Hate to say it, their winning streak has come to an end.
Clement running, and Straw sends a fly ball to center. Robert is there, and that's the ball game.
The White Sox beat the Jays 2-1 to snap their win streak. Toronto will have tomorrow off before beginning a West Coast road trip with a series against the Athletics. Meanwhile, some young fans got to hit the field at Rogers Centre this afternoon. CTV Sean Leathong reports.
Walking off a winner, Blue Jays fan Zach Truen gets to feel what it's like to hit a home run at the Rogers Centre.
This is make my dream come true, coming here.
Truan is a player with Challenger Baseball, run by the Jays Care Foundation.
Challenger Baseball is our adaptive baseball program for children, youth, and adults with disabilities that run in communities across Canada.
There are 14,000 players across Canada like Zach, getting experience playing and winning at baseball. Today, 250 lucky players from across the country were invited to the Rogers Centre to step onto the field where their heroes play.
It brings the best out of him. He's been coming here since he was 2 years old. You know, sometimes it would be for just an inning or two, but he's worked his way up to now, you know, he'll be here for an entire game.
Players as young as 4 and up to their 50s are playing games adapted to their ability. Many, like 5-year-old Ainsley, came with family.
Are you a Blue Jays fan?
Yes. It feels amazing and a dream come true.
It basically is Cole's whole world. His passion is everything Blue Jays.
He loves sports and loves baseball, so this has been an amazing morning.
And with multiple stations for kids to try, it seems that everybody has a favorite.
Probably speed pitch. Aces, obstacle course.
What's the most fun thing you've done?
Baseball.
And with the team in first place, having won 10 games in a row before today, expectations are sky high.
They're doing good. I hope they keep on doing well and hopefully win the World Series.
They can make it all the way to the final.
Think they can
win it?
They could win the World Series.
If they keep going like this, wow. I've never been to another team World Series win ever in my entire life. I was not born yet in '93.
But today, these players are the ones celebrating a big win. Sean Lee Thong, CTV News.
Coming up, diagnosing ourselves without a medical degree. Whether it's turning to AI or the flood of information online, Ontarians are taking matters into their own hands, and actual doctors are concerned.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, many of us have investments with banks and other financial institutions. You may be tempted to try and make more money trying private investing, but it can be risky, and there's a chance you could lose all your funds. All of that story, that's just ahead.
Northern Ontario, the hot spot for today, but we've been pretty seasonal here in Southern Ontario and across much of the GTA, but that changes as we head in towards the weekend and next week. The heat is on. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast and I'll look ahead at your weekend. All those details coming up after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
If you have guaranteed investments with your bank, you may make returns of 4 to 5% a year, and your money should be safe and secure.
If you trade stocks, you could even make higher returns. Some people hoping to make more than that may choose private investing, but it can be risky. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. Many people would like to see their investments grow faster, but you have to be careful if you're offered a chance to make easy money fast. 2 viewers told us they invested with 2 different companies, and now they're concerned their money is gone for good.
How much does $30,000 mean to you, Helen?
That's my life.
Helen Boodoo of Scarborough says it was a year and a half ago when someone she knew offered her the chance to invest in a landscaping company.
I said, fine, I don't mind. And then I go take out all my money from my bank and give it to them. And then now I'm broke.
Boodoo was told if she invested $30,000, she would get back her principal plus $3,000 interest in just 2 months. She had them sign a promissory note, but when it was time for her funds to be returned, she was told the money was gone.
I tell them I want my money. She said, we don't have no money. You give me free money and we enjoy the money. I cry every day. Every day I cry.
I'll park some money there and just try something different than stocks and bonds.
Nick Hatzamalis of Richmond Hill saw an opportunity to invest in real estate. He invested $60,000 and was told he would receive interest payments for a year and a half and then get back his entire amount. He did receive some monthly payments, but they stopped, and now he's worried his entire investment is in jeopardy.
Now I'm in a position where I can't get my money back. At least not anytime soon. I took that gamble and it bit me.
Remember that your money is going out there. Remember to be safe. Get a third-party opinion.
Marani Law, a firm that helps investors with private lending, says there are risks involved and you need to do your research carefully before investing.
go to a lawyer or somebody in the industry who's able to review the documentation before you release your funds.
Boodoo went to court to try and get her money back, but her case is at a standstill. Hatsamalis is hopeful his funds will eventually be returned, but both regret trying private investing.
I'm 73 years old, and that is all I living on, and they don't want to pay me. So what am I supposed to do?
That's what I was going for, something safe, something that I knew I was going to get my money back. I probably would have been better off just putting in a GIC.
And you may also see ads on social media saying you can make money quickly investing in cryptocurrencies, or maybe a video with a celebrity or a politician. These ads are fakes generated with AI. If you invest with them, you'll lose your money. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Let's talk about the forecast. We had some clouds, warm enough, but at least seems like we escaped the rain that was supposed to be heading our way.
I know, I love that. Doesn't always mean when we have rain in the forecast that it will rain, and I think we're ending up on the more positive side of things a lot lately.
Yeah, and for now we're doing okay. These systems can pop up so quickly. So we've seen some alerts in areas a little further north of us. We might still escape it. We're still watching this kind of develop, but this is the beauty of the summer season, is, if nothing else, unpredictable when it comes to storm systems. But as they mentioned, we've had a really beautiful day, and it's going to continue as we step into this kind of second half of our Wednesday. But that cloud cover linger through a good portion of our day, and that's going to kind of really push its way into the rest of our night. Some late day sunshine kind of help warm things up a little bit, but again, we're still contending with the line of showers pushing its way towards us, knocking on the door right now, prompting a severe thunderstorm warning areas just north of Kitchener and severe thunderstorm watches along the eastern shorelines of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. We're still watching if this comes to fruition for us. If it does, it's a little closer to about 8 p.m., but they move very quickly, and as soon as those alerts pop up, a lot of times they drop as soon as it passes. So we'll watch this one as we head in towards the rest of our evening. There's that line of showers right now. Again, the bulk of it staying just north of the core, but again, we'll track this one as we head through the rest of our night. As we get in towards our temperatures, though, it is still very warm out there. 25, feeling like 32. Areas in northern Ontario, Peawanuck at 29. All that heat and humidity, when those cold fronts slice their way through, they bring that potential of thunderstorm activity. As we head through the evening, though, the bulk of it is gone. If that blip does show up with rain, it won't last very long, and we're sitting at 19 tonight. We should be at 17, but you factor in the humidex for us here in the city, feeling closer to that low to mid-20 range, and we're holding on at or just above seasonal right across southern Ontario. Into the day tomorrow, another very warm one. We're looking at the very slight chance of a passing shower if you're up very early, but the bulk of our morning just cloudy, and then the sunshine rolls through in the afternoon. 28, feeling like 36. We're at 29 through Waterloo, 28 in Godrich. It is going to be another very toasty one. We're also looking at a UV index on the higher side at a 9 through Windsor and London for us here in the city, and the majority of southern Ontario at an 8. So even on those days you don't have brilliant sunshine, you still have to protect yourself the same way. We're watching that system make its way through. As that cold front slices through, that kind of helps bubble up a little bit of that thunderstorm activity, but it moves out just in time for the weekend. But we have to get to the weekend first. Again, right around kind of in that 8 o'clock window is when we're likely to see that pop-up shower for us. It moves out very quickly, and then as we head through the overnight and into the day tomorrow, it's pretty nice. Maybe a few scattered showers, again, very quick in nature. Beautiful day, likely a sun shower, if anything, tomorrow. We head in towards our Friday morning. Once again, rinse and repeat, cloudy to start, sunshine into the afternoon, and we're stepping into what is going to be a very hot and very sunny weekend. We're at 30 degrees for your Friday, the same as we head into our Saturday, up to 31, but those humidex values get into that mid to upper 30 range, and they stay there right through to the weekend and in towards the middle of next week. So hydrate and take those breaks in the shade. Hopefully this helps you plan. Nathan, I'll send things back over to you.
Thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
Also tonight, there's a new weight loss drug in Canada offering a potentially stronger shot at shedding pounds. We'll explore the alternative and how it stacks up to others. A new survey is shedding light on the extent to which Canadians are turning to AI for medical advice amid a shortage of family doctors.
The Ontario Medical Association warning about DIY diagnosis and treatment. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
If you use social media, chances are you've seen something like this.
Anybody out there that thinks radiation and chemotherapy cures is an idiot.
A reel about one health concern or another, oftentimes claiming to debunk medical information we get from our doctors. The impact? Well, according to a 2025 survey by the Canadian Medical Association,
62% of Canadians have encountered health information that they later found to be false or misleading.
Today, the Ontario Medical Association sounded the alarm about taking matters into your own hands, while at the same time acknowledging why it may be happening.
It could be lack of access to physician care. We know we're in a healthcare crisis. And there could also be fear or lack of trust in the medical profession.
The issue, says the OMA, is that the consequence of pursuing treatments found on the internet may not help. And at the worst, they can prolong symptoms while causing unnecessary harm.
I had a patient who had a tube going into their kidney because it was blocked. And they actually tried to put the twine from a weed whacker in to get out the sludge that was in there. And they were asking about actually putting in a little bit of Lysol to clear it out.
Cancer specialist Dr. David D'Souza cited case after case of patients who sought their own remedies to their own detriment, adding that physicians need to build a relationship of trust with their patients and, instead of being judgmental, make attempts to understand what they're communicating.
Just many years ago, there were some physicians who would basically say, I don't want to hear it if it's anything else. And I don't think that's been the right approach.
Quite frequently, doctors say patients are coming in having diagnosed themselves. So again, to restore trust, caregivers need to hear them out. And
if there is a discrepancy, let's say what they think they have is not what I think they have, then we have an open discussions about it.
The OMA concluded by saying disinformation is something we need to manage as a society, and healthcare is not immune. Janice Golding, CTV News.
You've likely heard of Ozempic and Wegovy, big players in the weight loss market, and the field is getting increasingly crowded.
There's a new weight loss drug on the market in Canada that has researchers saying that it packs a powerful punch. Our health reporter Pauline Chan takes a look at the new option.
The new injectable drug is called tirzepatide and is marketed as Zepbound.
For Obesity Canada, we're excited about anything that improves access and understanding around the disease of obesity. So having more treatment options is nothing but a great thing.
In the big trial that they actually did, patients who were at the highest dose lost about 48 pounds. So that's about 22% of their overall weight change. Whereas with the Wegovy product, we're seeing about a 17% change in weight.
Dr. Sean Wharton points out that's in people who started with an already elevated weight. Health Canada has approved Zepbound for people who are obese or who suffer from complications due to excess weight.
So type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, or there's a lot of other complications of those white adipose fat cells that sit mainly in that central area, right? And they increase the risk of a heart attack and high blood pressure and a number of other things.
The biggest misconception that people have about obesity is that it's about personal choice and that it's about a lack of willpower or laziness. And we fundamentally know that that is not true. Obesity is a really complex, chronic disease that people will live with for their entire lives.
Both Obesity Canada and Dr. Wharton say it's not about achieving a movie star figure. People with a large frame don't need weight loss drugs if they are healthy. Provincial funding for Zepbound is still being decided. Zepbound can have side effects, but those usually fade with time.
We're talking about having some nausea or having loose stools. And so those are the common ones, but those are transient.
And Lisa Schaefer says her own mother is allergic to tirzepatide, so she can't take Zepbound. That's why having many options is so important. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
After the break, signs of the times. City councillors propose using a color-coding system to rank apartment buildings to make landlords accountable.
Some people don't realize that what they're doing, if they're helping somebody cover up after a murder, hide evidence, evade police, they may not realize that there are criminal charges associated with that.
Updating our top stories, there was a renewed appeal for witnesses to step forward in a fatal shooting last month. 15-year-old Jakai Jack was the innocent victim of what investigators say was an unprovoked attack.
We're seeing one of the largest mass layoffs in Ontario's history.
A rally was held today in support of college faculty and staff. Their union says nearly 10,000 of them have been let go or will lose their jobs by the end of the year. More than 650 college programs have been cut or scaled back. The province blames the federal government, which reduced the number of international students allowed into Canada.
A lot of rinks have closed in the city, and the city is not making more rinks available.
The Central Hockey Academy says there's not enough ice available this summer in an area of the West End. George Bell Arena is closed for repair work, and there are redevelopment plans for the Weston Lions rink. And some rinks that are open don't offer daytime availability. The city says it can adjust operating hours based on need, but opening hours reflect demand for summer.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news to share with us, let us know.
NVIDIA hit a milestone today. B&M Bloomberg Morella Fernandez has more on that and other business headlines.
NVIDIA has become the most valuable company in history. It's the first to be valued at more than $4 trillion, hitting that mark during the course of the trading day. The tech company's stock is up 22% this year. Its chips vital to the rollout of artificial intelligence. The previous record was held by Apple, which soared to $3.9 billion in market cap in December of 2024. Here's how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar dropped slightly to 73.03. West Texas Intermediate also had a small dip to 68.60. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it up 54 cents to 56.30. And the TSX is up 68 points today, ending the day at 26,972. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Housing advocates are supporting a new push at Toronto City Council to call out unsafe rental apartments in the city. Councillors Josh Matlow and Chris Moyes are calling for landlords to post color-coded rent-safe signs similar to the city's Dine Safe program on apartment buildings with property standards violations.
When restaurants receive a yellow poster accompanied by orders to comply, their owners and managers are highly motivated to resolve any outstanding issues and earn that green poster back. I firmly believe that the same principle will apply to our landlords and their management companies.
The proposal will now go to Council Committee for consideration. Just ahead, a musical score on the Lakeshore. Sean Jones and his band get set for a summer residency at the iconic Palais Royal. We'll hear from the award-winning Toronto singer after the break.
A local musician is setting up a residency at the Palais Royal.
Sean Jones is bringing variety to the Grand Ole Ballroom, and it's inviting you to spend a night by the lake and groove on the dance floor. CTV's Andrea Case has the story.
Sean Jones and his band are warming up for a special gig at the Palais Royal. Next Wednesday, they will begin a 4-week residency at the famed ballroom.
I had always seen the Palais Royal as I'm driving into Toronto and been like, why isn't anything happening there? It's such a beautiful place. And then I learned about the history of it. So I phoned them up and I just said, look, I'm looking for a spot. And they were like, well, we got some open dates.
Built in the early 1900s, the Palais Royal really took off as a ballroom in the 1930s, eventually with acts like Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and Oscar Peterson performing. And oh yeah, the Rolling Stones in 2002. Born in Toronto, the once shy high school student's life changed forever one day in French class.
I went up to the front of class, butterflies in the stomach, and I started singing, and every girl in that room just went. And I was like, this is it. And so literally that is what started the train moving.
Jones went on to be a member of the Juno Award-winning group In Essence and dreamed of being a lawyer, but the arts kept calling. Sean is also an actor like his namesake.
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, my mom loves Sean Connery, and that's how the name came about. They are looking for a new Bond, and I look good in a tux. Trust me.
As for the residency, which will run on 4 Wednesdays in July and August, his show will offer more than music.
It's just getting harder and harder out there for younger artists to move ahead. So if I can create a space where they can come and perform and share their music with my fans, and hopefully those fans will become their fans, that to me is like a win-win all around.
July 16th, revival, Sean Jones and this band. Come on out, Palais Royale.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
Sean Jones, the
just,
charisma. He's singing right to us.
I love that. And such a great venue.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh my gosh, really exciting. So if you're heading out tonight, you'll likely be okay if you're going out in the second half of the evening. We're still watching for the showers and kind of rolling their way through. The likelihood of it coming through the GTA is still there, but it will be brief. We've seen these alerts pop up and come and go pretty quickly over the past hour or so. And as we head into the rest of our night, if we do see rain here in the downtown core through the bulk of at least the north and east end of the GTA, it's in that kind of 8 to 9 o'clock window. Temperature-wise, still quite mild, 25, feeling like 32, and the heat doesn't go anywhere as we head into this evening. If you are playing sports, keep an eye on the sky. If there's thunder, you're going to want to pause that until it is all gone. Temperature-wise, into the day tomorrow, back up to 28, but by Friday, Saturday, it's looking nice.
Ooh, yeah, hot. The sun returns. Thank you, Jess. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zarada Alman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.